Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking. I'm here with another video review for you. Now this is a game that I did a review of a Kickstarter prototype that I played a long time ago. And then they did a very, very successful Kickstarter, and they were very kind, and I think I backed it at like a base level pledge, and then they sent me an all-in as kind of a way to thank me for the video that I did. And this game, so I can grab this giant box so I can show it to you, is called Arena the Contest. Now, Arena the Contest, now if I'm trying to remember, like when I did my original video, this game was with the idea that you would be playing like player versus player. So I'm big into tactical minis games now. I really, really enjoy Age of Sigmar, Games Workshop, Warhammer games, and I'm Friday night hobby night is something I really enjoy going to at my local Warhammer store, and it's a really, really good group of people that I enjoy playing. But the one thing that I don't have a lot of is time. Creating an army and having a 2-hour-long battle session is something that, yeah, I've done, and I have a really, really cool Flesh Eater Quartz army for Warhammer. I'm talking about Warhammer a lot here, but I want to talk about Arena. But basically, I want to do more in the tactical miniatures hobby, but I don't really have a way to do it because of the fact that I don't have the time to like create giant armies. I don't have the time to like schedule and be available at tournaments and these things and like that. And so, but I have this itch. I have this desire to play tactical combat, and my daughter has it too. She really enjoys going to Warhammer with me, and my son's getting there, and I'm looking forward to playing against him too. But what Arena the Contest did is it allows the players just to basically have these fantasy heroes that all have these wonderful powers and abilities, and you can just duke it out, and you can battle. And that's something when I originally did this and played this and did a video for this, that's the way I played it. There is, however, and they call that PvP, as you're probably player versus player, but there is a PvE version of the game, a player versus environment. And when I got the full set of this, as I said, I got like the all-in, and I got like the expansion for like Heroes and Dungeons and like the Kickstarter content and stuff like that. I was able to like really dive into like the dungeon world that they've created for this. Now, I should mention, you don't need the expansions, you don't need all of the Kickstarter stuff to be able to play the PvE or the PvP for that matter. This one big old giant box of stuff, you know, it's enough to have all the fun you possibly can handle. Of course, I'm one of those people that I like having everything, and I like having all the expansions, and so when I have those, I really dig that. So what they have is they have like individual quests that you can go on, and that's like how I'm going to show you how a quest works here when I show you how the game works. And there's also this fantastic campaign that the creators, the publishers, the designers have put together and put into this box, and that is where it shines, because now I really like playing Dungeons and Dragons with my kids, and they really dig it. But I want to like play with them. I want to be a hero with them. I don't want to always be the big bad DM trying to stop them, right? So the campaign has this giant long campaign where the players can play, they can level up, and you can do battle, and it takes you through a very, very, very awesome story. And I'll talk more about that campaign in my final thoughts as well. So I've talked a lot in this intro, so let's go ahead and dive into how the game is played. I'm just going to show you like a round or so of a player versus environment thing. I'm going to do a Dragon's Lair and kind of show off some of the miniatures that the game comes with, and then we'll come back here and I'll talk more about Arena the Contest. All right, so like I said, I'm not going to show you a PvP type of thing. I want to show you a PvE, or just basically what like would be a Dungeons and Dragons encounter, which is something I think this game excels at showing. Now, in this particular instance, we are going up against this big bad red dragon. Now, it's not red because I haven't taken the time to paint it, but these miniatures, and I said this before, the miniatures that come with the game are fantastic. I mean, they are highly detailed, and they are not, they're all just like, guys, a one-piece thing, so you don't have to like put them together or anything like that. Really, really well done. And it isn't just, you know, like a lot of people say, well, it's a big mini, it's easy to do a good job with the big mini. And no, these aren't going to be like Games Workshop quality type of, if I can get this thing to focus in on this mage guy here. I mean, but these are like way better than like, say, talisman figures or anything like that, and they're really well done. And I think they knew that they had to do something pretty awesome, just because for a game like this, it's an immersion factor, it's a thematic factor. You know, I don't want a stupid looking dragon to fight if I'm going up against it in its lair. I want them to look menacing and powerful, and something that can tear the house down. Now, thankfully, we're not facing this guy. As you can tell the difference, this is the Elder Dragon. This was an expansion. You can kind of, I'll just put him down here next. You can kind of tell the difference as far as the size goes. This guy is super tough, but that's for perhaps another video at another time. We'll dive into the Elder Dragon. But this game, if you watched my original video from a long time ago, one of the things I really liked about this was the fact that this wasn't a game where you got your nose buried in the rule book trying to figure out what's going on. And the game publisher really went above and beyond as far as making sure that all the information for the game can be located like right on the board. For example, you have a first of all, a little player aid that's just the different types of tiles and what they do, and like the different barriers, like what does lava do, what did these stone walls do, things like that, and then the conditions that can happen, like if you're cursed or blessed or whatever, all these possible things that you can encounter as you play. And these are for both the cooperative version of the game and also the head-to-head version of the game as well. This particular rules stat sheet here goes over the whole like standard turn as far as like, you know, what the hero does and what you can do. Now, you probably won't need that right away, and once again, the conditions on the other side. You probably won't need that after you played the game a few times, but you definitely, it's one of those things where having that handy for new players or to reacquaint yourself with the rules, or just the first time, obviously, as well. Now, I'm just going to kind of show you each one of these figures. They are kind of color-coded for the class they are. The Barbarian is a brute, and they're red. The healers are green, the shooters or long-range combatants are blue, and the tacticians are orange. There is like another type of person called a controller, and those are purple. I don't have one of those out here just because of the fact that you can only take 4 heroes for this particular mission, and you can't take 2 of the same, so you couldn't have like 2 healers or 2 brutes. You have to mix and match. So that's something that's important too, so you can kind of like make your party the way you want to. Now, you could totally play this solo, though obviously this is a game where, you know, having more people together, having 4 people together, like to control each one of the heroes, then the game shines, because it kind of feels, and I'll talk about this a lot probably in my conclusions, it really does feel like you're playing like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of combat encounter here. So you can notice there's some treasure chests out there. Each one of these quests has in the big quest book, and I just grabbed this one in the quest guide here that you get. Like, it tells you exactly what happens in this particular, and tells you how to set it up, tells you any special rules, some cool art, and this is a really thick book. So I mean, it's not hardcover, but there are tons of these possibilities. It isn't all dragon encounters either. It is like, you know, fighting orcs and different creatures and what have you, and all kinds of different possibilities are located in that. And I'll talk a little bit more actually if you go ahead and do like the full campaign. Actually, why don't I describe that right now? If you are interested in doing the campaign, that is a bear all of its own. So like the campaign tome is this guy here. Once again, big, thick booklet. And this is actually meant to be played. Here you get a map of the world. Let me show you that a little better. You get a map of the world, and then you begin to dive in. Like you start off, you know, it tells you exactly how the book is, how you're supposed to use the book, and then you actually begin, like you begin telling a story, and it'll tell you as the game progresses, depending upon what you do, depending upon the actions you take, the story itself will change and alter as the game. So once again, I really like this game because this has allowed my kids and I to play basically a Dungeons and Dragons game, like just by ourselves. We don't need a dungeon master. We were just playing the game and going about it, and it's been kind of fun diving into that. But all right, so I was going to talk about the heroes. So again, this is the ease of use type of thing. Here you have a hero card. The hero cards tell you exactly, they have your stats, tell you how many hit points you have. It tells you what their basic attack is. Now the basic attack number is the amount of damage the basic attack does. So he does 8 damage with his basic attack. And then defense is 6, so that to hit him, somebody's got to roll a 6 or better on a 20-sided die. And then 5 movement is 5 spaces of movement. So, you know, pretty straightforward, and it's really easy to figure out. So each one's going to have like people are going to have special abilities, and then they're actually going to dive into what their attacks do. So like here, magic missile. Oh, and I should say silver is their normal attacks, and gold are special attacks that these things, these heroes will do. And these are like special moves that are only available to them once per encounter. So you have to make sure that you play your cards right and, you know, don't waste these, but wait for a good moment. So you can see here it's like, you know, 8 squares, like Magic Missile has 8 squares, affects one enemy, ignores all harmful conditions on you. Sometimes you'll get hit with conditions that will make it so you do less damage, you know, and things like that. So this would not be affected by that. And then 10 damage plus effect, and then the effect is 2 other enemies within range take 3 damage each. So if we are only fighting like one dragon, but if we were fighting multiple creatures, you know, something really powerful. And then we have our Cain Blast, just for comparison. It's like all combatants in a 3x3 area, so like just basically an area effect spell. And then 9 damage per hit plus effect. The effect is you may move any number of targets 1 square each. And now that's where the environment comes into play, where like maybe if you were fighting orcs and stuff, you could push them into these lava pits and what have you. So really dynamic way of like the combat goes and how it plays. Now these are these 4 cards that have the character art on the back like so. These just state exactly what's on the player board itself. And I was a little like, well, why does it do that? I think that's for, like, in my opinion, like if you were facing like these in a PvP, you could say, here's my ability, so you don't have to hand over your card. Also, because of the fact that like his 2 special abilities, the counter spell and the shockwave, since you can only use them once per encounter, like if you could have these in front of you, and if you use them, you could just flip them over like that, knowing that you had already used it, and you wouldn't like forget that you'd done it before. Now, in comparison, like let's just look at like the Tactician, just the Tactician. And once again, I should mention, I apologize, you would get like 2 of each of these characters. So like this brute here is, you know, this orc, you know, or I guess maybe he's a half orc, but Qatar the Barbarian, he's a brute, you can tell. But here is another brute, and it's like this guy who's a werewolf. So, you know, and like they have different abilities. To compare, like here we have Garyon the Rogue. is the Tactician, but here we have Rokaru, the Samurai, which is he's also a Tactician as well. So there are definitely, oh, and I should mention there is one I mentioned, there is the controllers, there is actually these guys, there are the gray ones that are the tanks, which, they just sit there and take lots of damage. You have Jorana the Amazon, and you have Rurik, the Dwarf Warrior. Of course he's a Dwarf Warrior, of course he's a tank, We'll play into type there, but oh well, everybody likes the big tough dwarf that just can take a licking and won't fall down. But anyway, so like if you look at here, like his basic attacks is a dirty trick. It's within 2 squares, 1 enemy. Gain +2 bonus to your roll, so it's either hit 10 damage plus effect. The target's attacks deal hit damage but apply no effect. So like if you're fighting something that would have like some sort of energy drain or some sort of burning effect or anything like that, it wouldn't, like that particular target would have anything they did wouldn't have any effect after the effect. And like remember, these characters are exactly the same in player versus player, or like basically a game where you're playing against the other players and you're basically in the arena and these warriors are fighting each other. So just keep in mind that there's things like that as well, that they're going to be affecting, you're taking away extra effects of like that wizard if you were able to hit him with the dirty trick. So like he wouldn't, if he successfully hit somebody with his Cain Blast, you wouldn't be able to push somebody with that effect. And then you have backstabbing, because of course a rogue has backstabbing. Like Master Stroke and Memory Theft. So, it's just, these are really, really thematic as far as the type of character that you have. And you're able to like, that's one of the things too where, I mentioned like the tank being the dwarf, playing to type. It's one of those things where that's not a bad thing per se, because of the fact that I like my games to be intuitive when I play them, and I want to be able to like, there's something about subverting like normal expectations and stuff like that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But sometimes, just like when I show you how combat works here in a little bit, you're going to say that seems a lot like D&D, and I think that that's something really good actually, because if you have played D&D, it's going to feel like a nice, warm, comfortable pair of slippers when you dive into the way the game is played. All right, so I should also point out that if you do play a campaign or epic quest, there are level ups, so you will like gain abilities and powers as your characters level, and you'll see a progression, which is something I think that is important. Obviously if you sit there and you defeat this big giant dragon, if it's just a one shot and you guys have good luck, great, you win. It can be kind of one of those things where you're excited, but you actually would get experience if you're doing quests and things like that, and then you can use those quests to actually, that experience to actually level up your characters, and you can grow as a character group. There are some other cards over here like artifacts and scrolls. Artifacts are going to be like special treasures that you'll gain if you have an ongoing thing. Ring of Invulnerability, Amulet of Will, Crown of Power, and so on and so forth. They, just like you think you're opening up these treasure chests and you're finding cool artifacts that are going to help you and assist you in not only in this combat, but if you're continuing on, something that you'll carry with you and continue on. Scrolls are one-shot magic items. The evil power deck that you see over there, that is not going to be used in this particular thing because of the fact that we have, this is a boss fight. And so we're actually using a boss spell deck to handle that. But, the evil power deck would be used in the same facet as the boss spell. Evil powers would direct the enemy combatants that you're fighting to do certain things. There is also, because we're fighting Azamor, the Red Dragon, Azamor has his own deck of abilities and powers that we'll be referencing as the game progresses, and that will determine what he does on his turn. The only other thing I haven't, I think, mentioned here are heroic actions. You as a party get a couple of heroic actions that are just one-time things, which they do. And so like here's like a heroic revival, you can bring somebody back from the dead, or heroic ambush, you can do a bunch of damage. These are one-shot things. Once they're used, they're done. They are used in the player versus player version of this game as well. Last but not least, this track around the whole thing is the hit points of each character denoted by their circles there. You can see the mage has the least number of hit points, which, playing once again to type. The dragon does not have 70 hit points that's located here. The dragon, actually, he gets 3 more of these plus 70 tokens, and so he actually has 280 hit points. As you can see, that is listed right there in the top, 280 hit points. And so we've got to, as a group, just smash and smash and smash this dragon and keep ourselves up and fighting to make sure that it takes a while, but it's 4 against 1, so I like our chances. Actually, I don't like our chances. This is actually a pretty tough fight. And once again, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I just wanted to show you how the game works. But remember, you have we have our cleric, so we can heal, which is super important. He has this Sacred Flame ability, which says remove from an ally within range all temporary effects given to him by enemies. And so not only does it will do little damage, but also if it works, then you or an ally within range gains 8 hit points. So there is a way to get back health as the game goes. So the way it works is that the players will go first, and so if you're just playing this by yourself, you'd pick which area you want to go, and then you would just go ahead and move your characters, and you can move diagonally in this game. So just whatever your movement rate is, you can move diagonally. Now, I'm not fighting multiple opponents, but there are actually reaction attacks when people if you were to move through a threatened area, and if you play D&D or Pathfinder, you know what I'm talking about. Normally, the squares around your character are the threatened areas of that character. So if any of you, if we were playing and this was my character here, and my movement went this to move through, I had moved through a threatened area of this character, and then they would get a reaction attack to me. A way you can avoid that is you can do what's called a sidestep movement, which is you spend all of your movement to basically move to sidestep. Now you might be saying, well, why would I want to do that? I'm just going to end up, the person's just going to move up on their turn and hit me again. You can, because you get a movement action and then you get your normal action on your turn, you can use your normal action to take a move action again. So in those situations, if you were, and if I was fighting, let's say I was just getting the tar beaten out of me by this dragon, and I needed to get out of the way, and so somebody else can come in. Now this wouldn't work as well in this situation because the dragon actually has a reach of 2 squares. But I could do a movement action to get out and spend up to sidestep, and then I could run away out of his range because I'm not going through another threatened square. I'm moving out, and then I could move over to the healer or what have you, and they could take care of it. Now, like I said, this map is created by the book that tells you how to create it. You could just create your own. My son definitely has done that. He's created the maps of his own. He's 8. He likes having a bunch of enemies in there that they can just beat the tar out of me, or whatever. He thinks that's funny. But regardless, it's the AI for the bad guys is handled very, very well. But just so on your turn, what will happen is each player will move, and what you'll end up doing is you'll end up going through your attack. So just very basically, let's just here, actually, I'm going to move. I'm going to start like this. And the way it works is that these stairs that come up, they disappear after the first round. Those are just the spots, basically what it is, it's like a 4-spot area that you can place your heroes. And I could have all 4 over here if I wanted. I just split them up just for how it looks. But on your turn, you would look and you'd see that we have a movement of 6 with our barbarian. So he could go 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, and then as an attack, we can go ahead and look at his attacks. And so on here, we can see that he has a Mighty Blow. It affects 1 square, 1 enemy. Before striking, you may declare a +2 bonus to your roll. If you do, and this attack hits, the target takes -2 damage. And then we would do 14 damage. Now, so do I want to sacrifice 2, plus 2 to hit for minus 2 damage. Probably not. It's early in the combat, first attack, right? Or 1 square, 1 attack, 13 damage plus effects. Effects, you may move the target up to 2 squares. The target is exposed. It ends if used. So, like exposed. Now, like once again, if we pull that off, so exposed, it says minus 3 defense, and that's what that effect is. So it's one of those things where. Like it can be like, you know, this is the tactical aspect of the thing. And I should mention that the dragon is permanently empowered, meaning it does plus 3 damage, just because that's the effect of this particular combat. He also has the ability to move these lava pools around and like screw things up. But so like if we do our attack, we're going to take this die, and I'm not going to use that plus 2. The dragon's defense, as we can see, is listed right here, is a 7. So we got to roll a 7 or better to do damage. And so we're just going to roll and see what we get here. A 5. Okay. Well, I rolled a 5, so that would fail. Go me. But notice 5 plus 2 would be 7. So I would have succeeded if not. That's not good. But what I'm going to do with my cleric, however, because the cleric has this ability where he can attack at range, and then an ally within range is toughened and immune to new effects from enemies. So that's actually, he's going to be up there fighting. So we look at toughened, and it says take minus 3 damage from an enemy attack. So let's go ahead and we're going to look, and this also, let's just once again, the sanctuary can go 8 squares, and it's 10 damage plus the effects. That's pretty good, actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could actually go and sit next to this chest right here, and I'm going to go ahead and attack. Now, range attacks, if you have walls, it's once again common sense rules. Those things will block line of sight. Now let's see if this die has a number that has higher than 6 on it. All right, so I rolled a 3. There is, yes, okay, there are other things. So we're off to a bang up start here. So now let's go ahead and let's move the wizard, and we're just going to try to do some damage, and we're not going to be trying to do anything too funky. So we're going to move him over to here with his movement action. Oh, and I should say we remove this as soon as so there's no escaping. Well, the stairs, I guess, vanish as soon as we're up there. And so, once again, his magic missile, he can hit it. It ignores all harmful conditions if we have it on us, but we don't have any. So, once again, we need to roll higher than a 7. A 2! Oh my, okay, well, you know, this is usually during the video, I cheat at some point. I say, let's just roll that again. But you know what, fine, whatever. These would be damages that I would be moving down on this dragon. This is classic what my D&D game usually goes when we're all like failing in the big battle at the end. It's just hilarious. So, let's go with the dirty trick. This guy, remember, like, because then if we do that, there's no special effects, whatever he does, but I'm gonna have to get close. So I didn't want to get close, but I'm going to. Now here's the thing. Right now, he's considered to be mobbed by us. Now you might, what's mobbed mean? Well, this goes back to classic Pathfinder or D&D, or I shouldn't say classic, but basically, you know, you're surrounding the thing that you're fighting. So you're going to get a bonus when you attack. Now, if you successfully are mobbing somebody, then you get the exposed condition here. And once again, that is minus 3 defense from my attack. So, we're getting the plus 2. So I just don't roll a 1 because I get a plus 2 to hit from his attack. He is exposed, so he's got minus 3 defense. So minus 3 to 7 is 4. Plus 2, so basically I need to roll. No, don't roll a 1. And of course I roll a 20 when I absolutely just basically, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. So finally, we do 10 damage, and then he doesn't get any special effects. So we're going to go ahead and take the 70, move it down to 60 here, because he's taken that 10 damage, and he's probably like saying, where's the mosquito? What just hit me? So now we go to the boss's turn. Now, you don't have to go in the same aspect of these, like as far as the heroes can go in any order. They don't have to go in this particular order, but in order to do the boss's turn, it's pretty straightforward. So what happens is we're going to draw a boss spell, and we're going to draw one of these cards as well. So this tells us what attack he's going to use, in this case, which is the Furious Bite. And this one tells us what the power is. So it's a cataclysm, basically raining fire down on everybody. And then it's going to do 4 damage to everybody. So that's not good. So everybody's going to take 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. Put him there. And then, so as fire rains down in the cavern. And then this, and then the command portion of the card, hopefully you can read that. If you can't, I do apologize. It might be out of focus here. But the command part tells us that it's going to attack the nearest hero with the lowest hit points. Well, the nearest hero with the lowest hit points is going to be our rogue. So he's going to turn around. Technically, he doesn't have to turn around, but cinematically, it looks more impressive as I put that back down. And then, so we have Furious Bite. One enemy, this attack is a critical on a roll of 17 or more. Oh, I would have done critical damage, but whatever. Always moving forward, basically critical effects, if you will. And then, so this one, move the target 1 square towards you. The target is slowed, but remember, because I hit it with my dirty trick, those don't happen. Now, if I somehow fail with this, the target will still take 15 residual damage. They'll still take the, because basically the full bite didn't get me. So it's either 22 or 15. You can see how we might be in the hurt bag, or our rogue might be hurting pretty good, and now we're going to be calling on the cleric to taking care of things very soon. So we're going to go ahead and take this. We look at the rogue's defense. It is a 7. So let's see what we get here. The luck is still bad luck all around. I'm going to check this die. I'm going to give this die, I think, to one of my friends. It either rolls 6 or lower or a 20. I'm going to make sure one of my players gets that next time we have a session. But regardless, 15 damage to the rogue. Let's find the rogue. He was at 56. We're going to put him down to 41. And now we're going to start looking at our wounds. And this is where the tactics come into play, where we're going to be trying to figure out, what can we do to make sure that, one, we're healing the people that are hurt, but also like trying to make sure that the dragon attacks the person that can take the damage, if you will. And this might have been a situation where I should have brought that tank along, because the tanks have obviously those tank abilities that allow them to stay up and get the attention of the enemies and so forth. Now, as I said, this is just like one round of this. There's so much more that's going to happen. I mean, as far as the dynamic thing, the lava pools are going to be moved around by the dragon, and they're going to be moved logically according to the AI. And the AI in this game is very, very good. I was very impressed by that. But I didn't want this to be a super long video. I think I might do like perhaps... I was going to get Rob Oren possibly. I think he has a copy of this. I was going to see if he wanted to do like a two of us like playing together at the same time kind of thing. And I think that might be coming up here in the future. But if we can get that timed out well. But regardless, I want to tell you more about the campaign world and how that is like really the way to play, and how with the upcoming Kickstarter, like even more stuff that's going to be put into this game, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. But let me talk about that in my final thoughts. All right, thanks for watching that how to play. I mean, as far as like the how to play, the game itself is so straightforward and simple. I mean, all of the information is right there on the cards. It does this. It does this much damage. It does that. It's in the quest book. So I love the fact that like. My kids, my son is 8, my daughter is 12, they're able to like read that, and they're just be able to say, oh, okay, I gotta roll a 6 or better to do this, and if I succeed, I get to move you 1 space and do some damage, and so like it's very, very, very quick to understand and gather up, and it basically works, you know, and for my family it works for like kids on up to adults. Now I have played this with my gaming group and they really like it as well. It's nice to just kind of smash each other for a while, right? And just like have like just a night where I don't have to think about some big giant deep engine builder or anything like that. Here, look, just let's randomly draw some characters and let's just go to town on each other and see who wins in the end. So I mean, I just kind of really enjoy that. Now I wanted to show this expansion. I mean, I'm not telling you have to buy an expansion. You don't need this to be able to like really enjoy it. But the thing that I love about this is that I'll show you like the contents of it. You get a bunch of new heroes and stuff, which is cool and all. But this is what I really enjoyed. Now you get these stand-up walls and dungeons and things like that, and you are able to create a very 3D environment for you to go ahead and battle in, and I really like that. I like, you know, because like I had those treasure chests on the board, but with that box, all of a sudden now like the entire battle arena just pops, and you don't have to use your theater of the mind to think of a stone wall. It's just there, right? The stone wall is just there. So if I had to pick only one expansion that I possibly would get, that is the expansion I get. And you know, and it goes without saying that these miniatures can be used for your role-playing games as well. And I definitely have used those walls and the treasure chests and things like that in my D&D campaigns that I've been playing. And it's one of those things too where I'm always worried about painting miniatures from a board game. Isn't that weird? Because I always think, oh, if I paint it, what if I screw it up and it's going to look bad? But these I might just finally paint. I might get out the old airbrush, prime them up, and see what I can do to make them really pop. But that's maybe, you know, that's something I want to do. I want to do a lot more painting in 2020. I want to dive into that aspect of this hobby that I'm in. All right, so I wanted to talk, as I said, about this campaign tome a little bit. The cool thing about this is that not only do you have the campaign tome, the back of it has this awesome campaign log. I photocopied this so I didn't have to muck up the back of my rules, but this will keep track of everything you're doing in the campaign, and so you can like see like which artifacts you have. You can mark down the players and their leveling up, you know, all the different like powers, and you can just make notes as far as, you know, what you've achieved and what you haven't, and that way you can do it again, because there are like different pathways and things that happen, you know, and just you don't, after you play this campaign once, it isn't over. You can go back and dive back in and do it again. Now my understanding is with the like the next campaign, the Kickstarter campaign they're going to do, it's going to expand and have another campaign and everything like that, which this, in my opinion, is the best way to play this game. Now, I've played games like Descent and other dudes on a map type of adventure games, and the thing is that this is a little tough for me to say. So when 4th edition D&D came out, I despised it. I felt like it just like took all of like the soul of D&D out and just basically made like a World of Warcraft battle engine is all it was. Now, all that being said, there's part of me that kind of misses that World of Warcraft battle engine after the fact. I mean, if that had just been like a tactical game, like hey, we're not even going to try to pretend this is D&D. We're not going to even try to pretend that we haven't ripped the role playing out of it. I probably would have liked it a lot more if they said this is the new D&D tactical rules set or something like that. I probably would have dug it. I liked the fact that it was like, oh, you know, your attacks were very statistically designed and things, and had very statistic actions that they did, and it made the environments you battled in very dynamic, and you could use the environments to your advantage as well. So I think what Arena the Contest did is exactly that. And I think Arena the Contest, I'm not saying the name is bad. I think it just will tell people like, oh, hey, it's a battle arena. No. This is where the game shines, in my opinion. It shines in the quest book. It shines in this campaign world. The only thing I think that I'm missing is that like I can't design my own character. But, you know, that's just what it is. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could just on the fly come up with something. But the characters and everything have been very, very well designed and very, very well balanced for the game as well. So what I'm saying is that I really feel like the game shines in this. The PvP mode, great, fine, whatever. I definitely enjoy it. But I really, really, really enjoy the individual quests, and I really, really enjoyed playing this campaign mode with my kids. We had an absolute blast. I mean, there was just something so wonderful about my kids. Like, hey, are we gonna play the D&D board game? I mean, that's what they called it. They didn't call it Arena of the Continent. We're gonna play the D&D board game this weekend. They were like, oh, what's the next step in the campaign? And they were super jazzed to see that. So yeah, so there you go. I just, it's a really, really good rule set. It's really, really well produced. The artwork and the minis and everything are really well done, and it was a really, really fun aspect of my 2019 gaming. And if you're looking for something that fits into that spot for your gaming collection, I think this is something you definitely want to check out and maybe pick up a copy for yourself. So if you have any questions about Arena of the Contest, I'd love to hear it. Go ahead and ask away. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, be the best version of you possibly can every single day. Try to make good choices, try to make positive choices, try to be a positive influence in the people that are around you. I guarantee you, the more love that you give the universe, the more love the universe will give back to you. Until next time, I'm the Undead Viking. You are awesome. I will talk to you soon.